Okay, here's video 3 of the Pyramid 3 power supply. Again, I'll go over what was done. I did add 4 6800 UF capacitors to the top of this thing. There are 6 capacitors on the bottom, which are 4800 UFs. I wasn't sure how well those were doing. Anyway, the reason why I opened this thing up is the radio over here, the Flex 6400, is failing when I transmit and I go above 40 watts. The radio reset. So my theory was that there's too much of a draw on this power supply, and it a instantaneous power draw, and I thought maybe that this section didn't have enough voltage to react fast enough until this regulator caught up and passed more current. I hope that's the case. So anyway, now we have a lot of reserve power here. There's 6 4800 UF capacitors on the bottom. They're smaller looking things, and they're rated at 25 volts, and this thing's running at about 23 volts. So it's right up there to spec, a little close there. So you figure we got 6 of those at 48, that's about 5. 6 times 5 is about 30, so we'll say there's about 29 UF online on the bottom. The top here we have 6800 UF times 4. We'll say 7 times 4, 28, 27. So 29 and 27, we probably got about 57 UF online now, almost double what we had. So that's made a good difference. The only worry I have now is when I turn this thing on from 0, right now we have no volts. If I turn it on, is it going to surge the thing to death? Like an inrush to charge these things up. Let's try it out. We'll blow a fuse. So far so good, but you never know. So let's turn this guy on, and we'll connect with the meter to the negative post here anyway, and the positive post, and to turn this thing on. Here we go. Well, it didn't make a grunt sound, it just turned on. 14.7 volts regulated coming out. That's nice. This capacitor was loose in the last video, so I tightened it up, so I soldered it better. So now let's look at the raw voltage. The raw voltage on these capacitors is now 23.6 volts, roughly. That's our input to the regulator, and our ripple current here, ripple coming out on the raw voltage is what? The ripple is pretty much nothing. And I had half a volt of ripple before. So those capacitors either weren't doing the job, worn out, or they were, it needed more capacity. I don't know. But half a volt ripple on 12 volts is pretty high. So anyway, 14 volts. So that's the story on this guy. I'm going to now put it back together. This was kind of a hack because I drilled holes in the top of the board to put these capacitors in, and they fit that way. They didn't fit under the board, so they're getting hot. The thing with these is, if you put one in backwards, it explodes in your face. It could really hurt you, so you gotta be careful. Now, we'll turn this thing off, and the voltage will fade. It takes a while to fade off on this thing. There's DC volts. We're cranking about 14 out. Turn it off. The voltage, so much, 60 UF online here, 58,000 UF. The voltage is coming down, but it's in no great hurry. So that's a pretty cool sign. Wow, it's just hanging on there, huh? It's going down slowly now. But that's a lot of, yeah, the regulator must have some cost in regulating. It must have some ground resistors that are bleeding it off, but it's cranking away. All right, it's time to put these screws back in the case. These are kind of fragile because they're not really in real well. Well, I guess they're in okay. I don't know. We'll call it a day there. I'm just going to put the lid back on and keep my paws out of here. Maybe I'll keep the lid off because it probably won't work right, and I want to adjust a few things. Anyway, I'm going to connect back up to the Flex now. Okay, thanks for watching. Let's power it back up. Thunk. There it is. Have a nice day.